So the secretary is probably going to be yelling at me from the peanut gallery. So I just wanted to say that, as well as the ice is gonna break. Hey everybody, it's Drewski McGillicuddy, and this is a secretary-requested review. That's right, she sat me down last night, and since I'm scared of her, I did what she told me to do. And what did we do? We sat down and we watched Stephen King's The Dead Zone from 1983, starring Christopher Walken, Martin Sheen, and that other guy that's in like a bunch of shit. He plays the guy. You know, the guy with the kid. If you've seen this movie, you know the guy with the kid. All right, we'll talk about it. So, Christopher Walken plays Johnny. He's a school teacher, and the first thing I want to bring up is the fact that he's teaching, I guess, English. He's reading The Raven, I believe. But then he tells his kids, next week we're going to talk about the Legend of Sleepy Hollow and Ichabod Crane and all this stuff. And then he ended up going on to play Ichabod Crane in Sleepy Hollow. Foreshadowing? No, I don't know. But I just thought that was funny, because it's also in the trivia. And me, being the smart person I am, I noticed that before she read it in the trivia. So I was going to tell you that before she said, hey, you should bring this up. Anyway, so Johnny, he's got a great job. He's a school teacher. He's got a beautiful fiance. They're going to get married. They're going to have a long, beautiful life together. Bunch of kids. Oh, no. See, there's this milk truck driver. And he falls asleep at the wheel. And Johnny's just driving along. And here comes this milk container just roller skating down the road. Sideways.
Trailer.
Yeah, it's the trailer, whatever. I said container. I said the milk container. Will you sit over there and shut up?
No.
So you're ruining my video. Anyway, so it's just skating down the road like a rollerblader from the 90s. And bam. Bam. He just... I mean, honestly, it didn't even look that bad. Like, he was in a Volkswagen, so that might have been part of the problem. Because...
He probably wasn't wearing a seatbelt.
He probably wasn't wearing a seatbelt. But unfortunately, he gets pretty messed up in the wreckage and ends up in a coma for 5 years. 5 years. And to see, the funny thing was, his girlfriend was just talking, wasn't she, or his fiance, I should say, wasn't she talking about how she could wait for blah, 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 blah. But then, it turns out she could only wait a year, apparently. Because when he wakes up, he no longer has his job. He no longer has his beautiful fiance. He starts over fresh. Hell, he ain't even got no legs. Can't walk. He's got to go through therapy to relearn how to walk. He wears the goddamn neck frame so that his head doesn't just do this the whole time. Because, you wouldn't want to just walk around like this. So they got a brace on him. Okay? But yeah, he also wakes up to a God has blessed him with a gift. Okay. Okay, maybe it's not a gift, and maybe it's not a blessing. But either way, he has these special powers now where he can touch someone and see into their past, present, and future, and just know everything about them. So one thing leads to another, and then the sheriff, played by Tom Skerritt, asked him. He finds out after they find out that once he can touch something, he can see. He's a fucking psychic or whatever. Like, well, hey, we got this serial killer going around killing people. Maybe you can assist. And at first, he's like, nah, no, that's not my kind of thing. But then after he sees that it just keeps happening, he's like, okay, maybe I can help. So he goes and he helps, and they capture this serial killer who, I I kind of had him pegged. There's something about the person's eyes. There's you look suspicious, you son of a bitch. You look like the type of motherfucker. Because, you come off all innocent, but I can see through that shit. But anyway, I'm not going to tell you anything about that, because we're going to move along. We're going to move along because, he doesn't want to keep doing this. People are sending him letters. He's got a closet full of letters. He moves out of his dad's house, goes and gets his own little house isolated to where he doesn't have to leave, doesn't have to have contact with anybody else, but he does start tutoring kids. And then that's where we meet that guy that's in like everything. He's like in all the mobster movies. He's the guy. But anyway, so he brings his son. What's his son's name? Chris. He says, "Hey, I got this boy. He's not doing too good. He's shy. All this blah blah blah." And he's like, "Well, I'm not leaving the house." He's like, "Well, you're gonna have to, because I can't get him to come here. So you're gonna have to come to my house. I'll send the car for you, and then you can start having your sessions here." So that's what they do. And John and Chris, they hit it off. They get along real good. So then we fast forward to they're given sessions at John's little isolated house. And then we get to the probably my favorite scene in the movie. John goes to visit, and he has a vision that Chris and his buddies are all gonna die because the ice is gonna break.
The ice is gonna break.
But yeah, so he goes and he tries to tell him, "Hey, don't go play hockey today. There's gonna be an accident." And he goes, "Okay, fine, wait, yeah, just get out of here, And he fires John. He says, "We won't go play hockey. Just get out of here. Don't ever come back." And then he leaves, and then he tells Chris, "Go get your gear on. We're gonna go play hockey." He's like, "But you said." He's like, "I don't care what I said. I just said that so he would leave. Now go get your shit." But Chris is smart enough to say, "No. Fuck you. I'm not dying today, motherfucker." Because sure enough, he gets the rest of the kids. They go play hockey, and they all die. Bunch of dead kids. But anyway, so by him tutoring Chris, that leads him to meet Martin Sheen's character, Greg Stilson. He's running for Congress? Senate? Same fucking thing. What the fuck's the difference? But anyway, he's your typical politician. Got that high energy, positivity, and possible narcissism, and what's that other thing that's probably wrong with his brain? He's fucking psychotic, okay? And nobody sees it. But one day, he's having a rally, and the funny thing is, John knows about this rally because he's got this big-ass banner sitting right in front of his fucking porch. As a matter of fact, somebody comes passing out flyers one day, and it turns out it's his ex-fiance, which that leads into some other stuff that we don't necessarily, and her husband, but that's a bunch of stuff we don't necessarily need to talk about, even though I guess that is kind of important to the story and the plot, because she comes and visits him one night, and she yeah, I do the horizontal bop. But that's not important. What's important is John's standing in a crowd. He shakes, what's his name? Stilson. He shakes Greg Stilson's, whatever, his hand, and he sees the future, and he doesn't like it. It's not a very bright future for anyone. So he goes and he asks his dad, or no, not his dad, the doctor that Sam. He goes and asks Sam. That's his name, right? Sam?
Sam, yes.
He goes and asks Sam, the doctor that was treating him when he first woke up from his coma, because he had a little moment with Sam. So he asked him, "Sam, if you could go back and kill Hitler before all this stuff started, would you?" And that's a tough question. So he takes matters into his own hands, and then that leads to the climax of the movie, which if you haven't seen the movie, I'm not gonna talk about it, but I will say overall, this is a good movie. Okay, it's a good movie. It's got great performances. There's just something about it that I just can't get into it. I hadn't seen it since the 90s because I was underwhelmed with it back then when I was a kid. And watching it as an adult, I can appreciate the good acting and the directing, but it just... I know a lot of Stephen King movies were like TV miniseries or made for TV, and I know this one wasn't, but it sure as fuck feels like it. I don't know why, even though they show titties. There's titties in this movie, but they're made for TV titties, okay?
No, there weren't titties in that movie.
What?
There weren't no titties.
Yeah, it totally shows that girl's titties when the killer rips her blouse
that's
open.
right. I forgot about
These
that.
are one of the
titties.
these are one of the other first titties I ever seen, aside from Tango and Cash, and what was the other?
Yeah, I forgot. She
One of the
had
Nightmare on Elm Streets is. Maybe that's a video I should make someday. Is the first titties I remember seeing. But anyway, so yeah, this movie's slightly underwhelming for me. I don't know. Like I said, I like all the performances. There's just segments of the movie where it's like, maybe it's because it's late at night, but I feel like even if I wasn't tired, I would have still been falling asleep.
Because you're too damn ADD and you can't appreciate story building, atmosphere building. You want to have that instant gratification. Oh, every 5
they coulda
minutes
gave
you gotta
me-
have somebody killed.
They could have gave me a little bit of, I don't know. I know it's based on a book, and they, would you say it's pretty faithful to the book?
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, if I were to be able to read, I could honestly say this would probably be one of the weaker Stephen King stories, and I'm sure it is. It's not? It's one of your favorite books?
Uh-huh.
No, it's up there with the fucking Stand and
This
fucking
was his
The
first-
Shining.
First hardcover novel to reach #1 on the New York Times best-selling list in 1979.
But yeah, like I'm in the middle of the road on this movie. Like it's hard for me to even put a fake rating on it or a number. I mean, honestly, I could put a number on it. I'd give it a 7. It's definitely worth a 7 because it's worth watching every once in a while. But it's not something that's like instantly or infinitely rewatchable.
It's good for a treat every now and then.
I don't know. I do not know. I know a lot of people love this movie, and I can appreciate that. But me, personally, it's just a little slow for me. I do like the story. I did like the TV series with Anthony Michael Hall. I mean, the first season anyway. I don't really remember watching past the first season. But the movie, as much as Sarah's gonna fucking bitch, I feel I could benefit from a fucking remake since we're in the fucking middle of a Stephen King remake craze.
Nope.
Why not fucking remake The Dead Zone?
Because some things need to remain a product of their time.
Yeah, because if you see...
This is one that needs to just stay in the time period in which it was made. Just leave it.
Can you even hear her? I don't even know if you can hear her. But the other thing is, the reason I disagree with that is because, you know, the year I was born, actually, this movie came out the year I was born, and just the hairstyles alone are reason enough to remake this movie.
Oh, shut it.
Okay, like, what the fuck, people? If you were alive during this time in the 80s and you went into your barber shop and you said, cut my hair so that I look like a fucking nerd. I mean, come
Then
on.
you would have gotten a bowl cut.
Whatever. I've got to go, so if you've liked this video, don't get mad at me if I didn't think this was the greatest movie ever. But if you liked the video and you liked hearing me and her run off at the mouth for however long we've been running off at the mouth, make sure you grant us with a like. And if you're new here and you'd like to see more random nonsense, I'm Drewski McGillicuddy. I'll be here for the rest of my life. So click the subscribe button. Also, I'm starting a small army, and we're gonna get into some mischief. It's gonna be fun.